sir.
Yeah, I forgot at the crib.
Yeah.
You're right.
Get those as many people as possible.
You already know.
Yeah, I mean, might
That's
pull
what
up
I've been
on
doing.
Emilio's at a wrestling show in Brooklyn today. I might pull up on him.
really?
Yeah, that's my guy. So, friend of the podcast.
So down.
I don't think we're gonna drag Prince to his first wrestling show today, but no.
Thanks. Where's that?
It's in Williamsburg, actually.
School lover. Johnny Famous got a brunch in Brooklyn too.
There's a million things going on.
Yeah. July is heavy right now.
Scratch on. Last got his barbecue in the Bronx. It's like the lineup's crazy. The Fat Beats things tonight. Million things.
Nothing like New York summer, man.
You already know.
I've been gone too. I'm happy to be back.
Yeah, you just came back.
You were overseas?
I was in Puerto Rico, then Japan, and then Hawaii. So
Oh,
I've
nice.
been gone for
What part of Japan?
It's Tokyo. I went to Yokohama, and I brought my daughter at Disney for a couple days too.
Nice.
He's our resident Japan vet.
That's
14th trip or?
Now my 15th.
15th, okay.
Yeah.
I'm about that. Same.
But the first time
I was there once.
I mean, last time I went, my first time taking my wife out there with me, so I got to see the experience and shit. But I definitely want to take my kids out there. For real.
See, this is the problem with Bucket Hats and podcasts. I don't know how to do the headphones. Is it behind?
So you hear everybody, sir?
You.
Check.
Check. 1, 2.
Wagwan.
It's all good. Okay.
Yeah.
Got an engineer in Manchester.
56, right?
56.
Yeah.
So just format wise, we do a little round table, catch up on where we're at, and then we introduce our esteemed guests. Keep it moving from there.
Yeah. This one gonna be a long one. You wanna go first? 'Cause-
How do you always have the longest week ever?
Yeah, my shit is crazy.
All right. John said it all.
You ready, guys?
Yo.
Okay, guys. Estas Business has been there, rock that episode 56. Como vos estás? We're here. Prancer the Dancer
Yes, sir.
and Robbie, aka I can't call him by his real name, Fingers.
Yes, sir.
How you guys doing?
Ain't nothing. We good. Well, I'm good. How you doing?
I'm gonna go first because Prince always goes before me and has a lot going on, and I never have anything going on, so I
I
sound
want to fall
underwhelming.
asleep.
But I'm good. I had a productive week. We're out here just grinding on my startup. You know, got a lot of things going on the West Coast as well as Boston and New York, so things are moving on that side. I don't know, got a couple wrestling shows to go to, a lot of good music coming out. I'm chilling. This is the summertime. This is what I look forward to every year. So, in my element.
No, my dude staying active.
Now let's see if Prince can.
See, that was called
Oh,
concise.
Let's see if
Like,
Prince can go longer
That
than
was,
that.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
well, I mean, you know, everything busy right now, especially with my born day coming up, 7/17.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So,
And you're gonna be 20 years old.
yeah, you know, plus 18.
See, there you go. There you go.
You know what I mean? I got the mathematics.
There
I'm
you
good
go.
with you.
Okay.
I got you. All right, but on the 20th though, Saturday,
Mhm.
all roads lead to 863 Albany Church and Linden Boulevard, Mom Duke's crib. You know where it all started from. I'm having my Prince Low Yardie party.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I got food on deck. I got the flyers going around. I got the menu. Neek Neeks is the caterer. That's my cousin Two Tone who having a party with me. You know, it's a lot of people power in this. You know what I mean? My man Mont Love, Sergeant D Booms definitely, and I even shouted out, yo, hey, our boy Jerk Chicken from Japan.
Jerk Chicken Dance.
Cause his
Original.
birthday is the same day of the party, so you know I had to shout him out, and definitely my little cousin Smooth, the rude. You know what I mean?
Right,
Little
right.
Malcolm, his birthday was the other day, so happy
Oh.
born day to him. But yo, the thing is, I gotta bless my daughter. Yo, she back on the workforce. You know what I'm saying?
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Parabens,
New York City Parks Department. You know what I'm saying? So I'm definitely blessed with that. And then after coming from a 3.5 grade point average and stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
She doing her numbers out here, so I'm definitely proud of her. But yo, other than that, the merchandise is moving. You know, I got that the Mom Dude crib. I got the Go Like Me, and then Been There Rock That's. It's definitely, I just put a pre-order in for with Barfield.
Oh, okay.
For a lot of people that's waiting for certain selective sizes. So that's
Yeah, I need
definitely
large
coming.
though, so
And you
I got
also you also been selling the hats.
Yeah, the hats is going blessed. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm getting selective. People want the all black now, so I'm gonna have a couple of those. But at the Yardie party, you know what I'm saying? The merch table is definitely gonna be live. You know what I'm saying? So definitely come to the Prince Low Hip Hop Yardie party, and you'll get all the merchandise you're gonna see. Even some new ones. I got the Lodega. You know what I'm saying? The Prince Low Bodega one coming out that's gonna drop that a lot of people waiting for. But I'm out. I'm good, man. I feel blessed.
that was
Highly
actually
favored.
surprisingly concise.
Yes.
Yeah, it usually goes for about 30 minutes.
Nah, I don't need that.
Only
It's like record time right
They
now.
only went 15.
I saw the iPhone come out. I got a little scared. I got a little nervous. I was like, oh man.
Nah, that was just to drop the little synopsises and stuff like that. But matter of fact, last night I went to with my man Wayne Witt. You know what I'm saying? My Flatbush dude. I went to he used my +1 for me to hustle for the party and shit. So I went to this party called the Brooklyn Bullies. That was crazy. From beginning to end, it was a blessed party.
Slope.
Yeah.
Park
In the
Slope,
Park Slope area. You know what I mean? In the undisclosed area. I can't really say the block or whatever, because it was somebody's crib. That was the crazy shit. Like, yo.
It's a lot of nice real estate.
Yeah. So they did it big, you know what I mean? So I had a good time promoting the party there and had a good time myself. So that was like a pre-birthday jump off. On to the next.
John.
Yo, I didn't do too much. But I would like to say, congratulations, guys. We are finally on iHeartRadio. The podcast is on iHeartRadio, finally. They were like holding us back for a little while, but they saw it. Finally, we're on there. So
Okay.
That's,
Okay.
No, well, iHeart's a real big, you know what I'm saying?
That's
a
a
big
platform.
platform.
Shout out to iHeart.
So,
So
you know,
we have an esteemed guest today.
yes,
True.
we do. He's a show off. He is
The show off.
DJ. He's Harley's dad.
Most importantly,
You know, Rock Nation, Shade 45 Zone, Static Selektah.
what's good, fellas?
What's
Sir.
up? Peace.
Happy to be here. I ain't done a podcast in a long time. Actually, I think one of the last ones was Rest in Peace Combat Jack. I did Premium Pete's, but I kind of fall. I get a lot of inquiries, and I'm like, you know what? I talk all night on Shade 45. I don't want to talk so much. But yeah, you know, John, I know for a long time. I respect what you guys cover and all that. So I was like, you know what? Let's have some good convo. And it's early on a Sunday for
Yes.
me.
Yeah.
I got a hard time waking up.
We had to get you early.
Yeah.
I apologize. I should have doubled up on the iced coffee. So I didn't.
Yeah, I wish.
But
we appreciate your time on a Sunday.
yeah, I've known Static since I think 2010.
Yeah, maybe before that.
It could have been
Yeah,
before
no, it was
that.
way before that.
But
'Cause we were chilling at Santos in like 08, 07.
yeah, hard body. And then like I remember we used to just be all over the place, like just going to different clubs, and you know we always said we were gonna go with this. I don't know if you remember this. This is an old story though. We said we was gonna go to this spot in Bay Ridge and have this burger. And every time I saw you, say you was gonna go, and we never went.
Is it still open?
It's still open.
We gotta go over there.
You know what I'm saying? We gotta go over there.
That's a given.
And this is like
It's a 10-year promise.
Yeah.
What's the other spot? You gotta shout them out now.
Yeah, I don't.
It's
You
just
know,
the
you-
burger spot.
But
Yeah,
I remember
it was a burger
the
spot.
story because they put the burgers on an English muffin, and I always was telling Static like, "Yo, like we gotta go there, bro." Like, you know what I'm saying? Because he has, you know, he eats at a lot of good
This
places.
sounds like a late night munchies talk, man. This sounds like a specific
Nah, we used to
time.
always be out. I mean, we used to
We
run
always
around
late night, yeah.
with Just or you know just out someplace, and then just you know we conversation would come up, and that would be like the ongoing one. It was so funny.
Damn, I gotta shout out my favorite burger spot in the city shut down. R.I.P. Mikey's Burgers on Ludlow Street.
Yeah.
That's tragic. That's a big loss.
I gotta shout out
It's a
my
goddamn Louis
my
Vuitton
burger
store
spot.
on Ludlow and Rivington now.
Jackson Hole. You know what I mean?
That's a Queens institution.
Yeah, you already know. And in Harlem too, they got a Jackson Hole.
But yeah, man. So
I started off.
started off.
Yes, because I've never interviewed him. I mean, we talk, but it's not an interview. But you're like one of the most consistent people I know in music.
Appreciate that.
You know what I'm saying? Because every year, you either come out with something or you're working with somebody.
Yeah.
Is that hard to maintain for you, or you at a groove where like you just know what buttons to push to get you to a certain level?
I'm just in a zone where whatever I'm working on right now is like the next year or two. So, all these albums, I dropped 6 albums this year already. And it's like those are, one with Currency, one with I did the one with Bun B live. I dropped one with this kid Plays that had been in the had been in the mix for a while. We've been working on it, but he finally got it out. I dropped an instrumental album called Mahalo that I made in Hawaii in 2 days.
Right.
And I just went back there and did a release party for it. It was crazy.
Nice.
And what else? I'm missing something.
Yeah, the Annoyed.
Oh, Annoyed. Shout out to Annoyed. Yeah, that just came up. And then next up is CJ Fly, produced his whole album. That's coming probably like next month. And then I got me and 2 Chainz are finishing finally. It's been done, but we're like fine tuning, replaying some samples.
Right.
But that's he's coming to Brooklyn to do that too, so I'm excited for that.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
That's gonna be dope.
I'm missing something else too. There's a whole nother album done.
Yeah, because you said 6. That's 5.
Well, no, that's 6 is out. Hold up.
That's 6 out. You got another. You got.
Oh no, we got another 6 coming this year, and I'm working on my next album. So.
Right.
And that announcement's gonna be big. I got the GOAT executive producing it, so
Oh boy.
that's gonna be a big announcement when I make that.
Oh boy.
A lot of music in the meantime though. Nas comes out Friday.
Right,
I got a
you
joint on there.
but you got a joint on there,
The
right?
Locks is coming right after. I got a joint on there. I got one on Wiz Khalifa's new album. There's a lot of music coming still this year.
So you gotta stay consistent in this game.
Yeah.
For real. Keep on top
That's
of
what
the
I'm saying.
game.
But
I
he's like
respect
this
that.
every year though.
Yeah.
Like every year, he's just like.
Last year I dropped like I think 2 or 3 albums. But when I say that, I'm not dropping. These aren't like static select albums. These are albums that I produced for other artists.
Right.
But my name, like the Bun B album, my name is on there as the artist. The one with Currency, same thing. Same with Annoyed. But like, there's just so much music coming, man. Like the CJ Fly album's it's gonna be just CJ Fly, but I produced every song.
Right.
Joey's album's about to come, so I did a couple on there. Joey Badass.
Right.
There's a lot of music coming, man.
Joey
But some of it takes, like this Nas record we did in 2011, man. It's just coming out now.
So the lost tapes are truly lost tapes.
Oh, they're really lost tapes, yeah.
Well, I was just talking to a friend about that. It's like we really want like in the liner notes like when this was recorded. Like
They
what's
might
the-
do that.
I think that would be powerful because the first one didn't do that.
I don't know too much about it. I think the Alchemist one is from like the Hip Hop is Dead era. The Pete Rock ones I haven't heard, so I'm excited to hear those.
Yeah, for sure.
The RZA ones I know were from not too long ago, so I'm looking forward to the whole thing. The Kanye ones from the Nasir sessions, we'll see what that is. I'm not Kanye's biggest fan anymore, man. He
went off into.
He needs to take that red hat off and reinvent himself, because he lost a lot of people in that.
For sure.
Yeah, he went off into Astroland. Haven't come back.
Musically too, I haven't been feeling the music either. So we put
Everything
that
off.
Yeah.
he just turned the volume off.
There was like 18 projects just listed. I'm like, so you don't sleep, right?
I mean, not really. Sometimes.
And he goes out a lot.
My daughter has me up by like 9 o'clock every day, so if I get to sleep later than 9, it's a blessing. But it's all a blessing anyway, man. I'm happy to be here. You gotta be grateful.
Yeah.
Well, he's got the Prince 92 Gold Like Me going on right now. Hella rings on.
Yeah, I DJ a lot, man.
You gotta have the hands
no one
right.
wants to see my crusty hands on the turntables.
Gotta make it look pretty.
Yeah.
Appearance is everything, you know what I mean?
No doubt.
So as far as DJing, like, how's that been going for you now? Because I mean,
That's my foundation, man.
Yeah.
Before the beats, before all that, I was a DJ. So that's like something I'll do till I'm however old I get,
Right.
No doubt.
And a lot of that, there's no real fine line between the two, right? Because like a lot of the DJ expertise comes into play with your production style.
Yeah, definitely. All the greatest hip hop producers were DJs.
Absolutely.
Everyone.
True indeed.
even the people that, you know, people might not have known were
As
DJs.
DJs,
Yeah, like Dr. Dre was a DJ first. Like, you know, everybody from Marley Marl to Pete Rock to Primo to Just Blaze, all of them, everybody was a DJ first. So
Do you think that's sort of a differentiator between like producers and beat makers, like not having that full?
I mean, in 2000, you know, it's almost 2020, man.
Yeah.
Like the conversation of producers and beat makers is like, it's so far apart.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This kid's selling beats, like 20 beats for $20 online. That ain't producing, man. That's you know, that's a virus on the internet. Producing is, you know, like P. Diddy might not be the illest beat maker in the world. I don't know if he ever even made any of those beats, but if it says produced by Puff, you know the quality's there because he knows how to walk in a room and produce a record. You know what I mean? That's producing. And then if you are good at making beats on top of that, that's why I think Primo's the greatest because he didn't never let nobody touch nothing. He did all himself and had the idea, you know?
And he's still active.
Yeah, shout out to Primo.
That Griselda joint he did this year was crazy.
Yeah, man. You got last night we were with De La Soul and they were like, yo, the album's coming, so I'm excited.
How was that concert?
It was crazy.
Nice.
Rooftop, Pier 17.
Yeah.
Primo and Pete Rock on all the beats is gonna be amazing. De La's one of my favorites, so.
Well, that's
30 years of just consistency, man. It's crazy.
yeah. I mean, how long have you been going at it now?
I started DJing in 95. I started doing clubs and like, I threw my first show in 97. I was 15 years old.
Right.
And it was 7 on Esoteric, Mr. Liff, Acrobatic, all these Boston groups I got like by just picking up the phone and asking them to come perform. And I made $300 that night. And at the time I was working at McDonald's. My manager was like, yo, you gotta work tonight. I was like, nah, man. I made $300 that one night as a 15-year-old, and I quit my job the next day. And was like, nah, I'm going hard with this. Yeah.
So look back from there.
Nah, like I think at one point when I was 18, like things slowed down a little bit from the summers before. Not in the summer, but during the school year, I worked at like a postal center, like packaging boxes. But ever since then, it's been hip hop. Like, it's a blessing, man.
That's beautiful, man.
Exactly.
Proud to say I never had to.
A lot of people don't get that blessing,
Yeah,
man.
man. I never had to, you know, do too many illegal things. And a lot of people around me were. I'm proud to say that looking back, because, you know, I feel like we used to be in a place where people would front hip hop to act like they did all that.
Right.
And I'm 37 years old. I'm proud to say I never had to do all that, man. Like, you know, no disrespect to nobody that ever did. Like I said, my whole team did. But I'm like, to survive that long off hip hop alone that's a beautiful
blessing
thing,
right there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
because you know some people have that starving artist mentality.
Yeah.
They'll starve rather than to actually get a job on the side.
Yeah,
You know?
absolutely, man. And, you know, you got to do what you got to do, but the amount of, you know, non-sleep I had and the going, I used to wake up, I used to go to AI, the Arts Institute in Boston. So I graduated high school, moved downtown, and I would go to school. No, actually, I would go to the Hot 97, the radio station up there, intern, then go to class, then take the bus back to Hot 97, do the afternoon shows like interning. Then I would go to Metro Concepts, which is a marketing company up there. I would do street team for Interscope and Raucous and all that stuff. Then I'd go to the, you know, to the club or whatever, or go to whatever events that night, and go to do it all again, like every day, 5 days a week. It was crazy, man. So when I look back at all that now, I'm like, nah, I deserve to sleep till which never happens, man. But yeah, man.
So the moral of the story is put the work in.
Yeah,
That's it.
There's really no shortcuts to any of this. You know,
Yeah,
like you see people in a position, they're there for a reason.
I used to get aggravated and be like, damn, I know this person didn't work that hard, or this and this, and they just came up overnight or whatever. And now I look at it completely different. It's like, you know, I might not have, you know, got the platinum plaques earlier or this or that, but like, dude, I got a healthy daughter. I get to bring her around the world. I like, you know, life is good, man. So it's like, you got to just take you got to respect your own story. You know what I mean? Some people like get frustrated with that. It's like, bro, everybody got their own path. And I'm very, you know, thankful for that.
No doubt.
So one thing, like, just outside looking in, like, what everything you've done that I'm aware of and that I've seen, like, the one word I would put to it is consistency. There's a consistent sound, not that like songs sound the same, but there's like you know a Static track when you hear it.
That's what I always wanted.
And
That's the
to have a benchmark sound, to have that for a long time, and to keep it fresh is not an easy thing to do. A lot of people
Absolutely.
have, like maybe 1 or 2 drum patterns that's like distinctly theirs, but then they fizzle out. Like, so to do it for this many years and do it across this many projects with this many prominent artists, like the people you talk about, whether it's your Currency, you talk about 2 Chainz, like I remember the Well Done project with Action. Like there's countless projects we could name here, and there's not one style of artist you work with. Like it's sort of is there, like when you look for artists, is there something you look for when you work with somebody?
just like the skill, man. People that take it serious. And if you told me in 1999 that I'd be dropping an album 20 years later with Bun B, 2 Chainz, and Currency in the same year, those are 3 Southern artists.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna ever front. I didn't grow up on Southern rap, bro. Like,
Right.
I listen to Outkast, I listen to UGK a little bit, Scarface.
Yep.
It pretty much ends right there. Like for real. Like, so the fact that now I'm working with all these guys like that, and 2 Chainz, you know, people hear his radio, the Candy records and all that. He's a hip hop dude. Like I met him on tour with G Unit in like 2004, and he was like all the beats were Buck Wild, and he was working with all. He's always been a
He's
hip hop
student
guy.
of the game.
He figured it out though, and
And that's
sold millions of records.
That's the thing. Like going back to what you were saying, like with Static, he studied the game and his craft,
Yup.
and he knows what he's doing. So with how you saying his consistency, that's the key to what he's doing.
2 Chainz put in. He's one of those guys that put in like 5 times the work, so he deserves it all, man. And now this next album, like, you know, if it's me producing it, I'm not like, we don't have no club records, we don't have no trap records. It's all hip hop, and I'm excited for
And
people.
the thing about 2 Chainz too, he on his grown man.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
he talks that talk because
Exactly.
he'll talk the the pimp talk, the player talk, the street shit, but at the same time he talks as someone that survived it all. It's not,
Exactly.
you know, like we grew up and I get frustrated when people hear hip hop and they're like, oh, these kids now are polluting people's ears and all this shit. It's like, bro, we grew up listening to I wanted to hear MOP talk about stomping out people's heads. That's what I want to hear.
There's a lot of rose-colored glasses about that.
Yeah, I wanted to hear Mobb Deep talk about what they talked. I want, like,
right.
gangster rap was the shit back then. And these guys are still, rest in peace, Prodigy, but these guys are still doing it great, but they do it with class and with morals and values. So it's like, it's not about the ignorant music's fun, man. Like, it's fun, you know?
I like gangster movies.
Exactly.
I like mafia
So it's like,
movies.
it's not about the ignorance in the music. It's about the way it's done, man. There's a classy way to be ignorant in hip hop,
Like,
not just being stupid about it.
when
you
I
know?
see, like the Benny the Butcher project, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's
Like,
grown-up
crazy.
rap, too.
It's grown up rap, but it's like it's all cocaine rap, and that's okay. Like, if that's what you
Look at
want to
Pusha
rap
T's
about.
up for a Grammy talking about nothing but, you know.
Exactly. So it's not the subject matter; it's just how you present it. You got to show both sides of it, all sides of it. You know, John.
Of course. But anyway.
But yeah, man, a lot of great work has been put in for something like 2 Chainz and myself to put an album together. And when you see who's on it and you hear how it sounds, like, I'm really, really excited because it's not about how many we're gonna sell. It's not about, you know, the fact that it's just all about 2 things coming together that a lot of people wouldn't expect, and it came out so perfect.
And bringing great content to hip hop.
Absolutely.
Feel
And
me?
he's talking that talk too.
That's it. That's it.
So, is this safe to say that this will be like your biggest project?
Yeah, definitely. So far, I mean, everything's been. Even if you asked me in January, I didn't know I was doing an album with Bun B in one day, and we did it. And having Fat Joe show up, Method Man showed up a day early by mistake. I came out the studio, he's sitting outside. I'm like, bro, it's tomorrow. In my head, I'm like, man. I was like, he's not coming back tomorrow. He came back tomorrow. We had so many people. Yo, Kweli called, and he was in LA when we started the album.
Right.
And 12 hours later, he's in my studio. Like, he flew in while we were doing it to do his verse.
Right.
It was a lot of moments, man. Big Crit. West Side Gun, the same. We started it, he was in Atlanta. He flew in, got on it while we were recording, man. It came out great.
Nobody wanna when that window of opportunity come, everybody wanna jump on it.
It felt like a moment. I mean, with Fat Joe, we didn't even invite him.
Right.
He was
See what
watching
I'm
on,
saying?
he was in bed on his phone watching, and like hit up my man Feat and was like, yo, you
Yeah.
think they'd like it if I showed up? Feat's like, bro,
Friend
just
of the
come,
podcast,
trust me.
Friend of the podcast.
Yeah, shout out to Feat.
No doubt, all
And
day.
when Joe walked in the room, I was like, nah, like me and Bun looked at each other like, this is crazy. Like,
Mhm.
you know, and I'm not even supposed to talk about this, but Hov sent a text and was like, yo, this shit is special. Like, I'm jealous. I had the idea of doing something like this with Samsung and we never did it.
Mm.
So, like, that when I seen that was in the beginning of the whole thing. When
Right.
Bun showed me that text, I was like, oh, man. And we never talked about that. It was exclusive, right?
No doubt, no doubt.
Yeah, it was a good feeling, man.
Yeah, when you get those types of texts,
Yeah.
you know you're on the right way.
That's it.
For real.
Like Jay who?
Yeah, man.
Oh.
Nah, I didn't say Jay, I said Hov. But nah, shout out to Bun, man. He's probably the illest class act in hip hop, and anyone that's ever worked with him knows what it is.
True.
Bun was one of the first that could do a song with, you know, he'll do a song with Soulja Boy one day, and the next day, or the same day, go to a studio and do a song with Terminology, and the next day do a song with DJ Premier, and the next day do a song with D4L. Like,
Right.
he was all over the place, and just always was Bun B. He had a brand that, you know, he really goes hard to hold it down for
Yeah,
Pimp
I
C
mean,
too, man.
Shout out to Bun because he's super nice and personable. Like
One of the most
professional.
humble people in the whole industry, like
I've
very
had a chance to
approachable.
talk to him a couple times, and he's like, you know what I'm saying? Like he's cool. Like he's like chilling, like he chill.
Yeah, man. We got up in Japan and we were just sitting there and we hadn't seen each other since the last video we shot from the project, and we were just like, yo, we did it, bro. Like every time we see each other, like, we killed that shit. And it just, it's one of those things that feels good. We didn't even like, it wasn't a thing about money. We made some bread off it and all that, but it was like, that was never even a combo until way later. It was like, all right, now these dudes are gonna send the checks.
Right.
And when we were doing it, it was like some kids in a room making hip hop.
Right.
You know?
So it was like a natural progression.
Absolutely.
You know, a natural process.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, so let's get off the music for a little while, and let's talk about the polo.
Yeah.
Gotta talk about that.
You know, I think I was messaging you one time. I called you like, I think Feat.Statik, something like that. He's like, yo, come on, don't do that. Please.
Nah, last time I seen you, we had a convo about it. And it's like, lately people have been saying like, yo, I see you going a little hard with the polo, but I had to break it down. First of all, I come from a family that never spent money on clothes ever in my life. Like, I had maybe 2 pairs of Jordans before I was 18. And I was the layaway kid. My mother worked at Marshall's. I was heavy with Low and all that, but I never had no pieces. I had the shit Marshall's sold. Sometimes you get some dope
Sometimes
shit.
come up there.
I grew up wearing, you know, the plain polos with the, you know, the simple shit. My whole life I was rocking that. I had, you know, I rocked Nike, and I'm from Boston. A lot of people were heavy with Adidas. I was never that heavy with Adidas. And fast forward to all these years, and first of all, I'm a big boy, man. I'm 2X. So there's not a lot of brands when you start getting money and you want to go shopping. You start going to these places you've never been in your whole life. There's not that many stores that you can buy 2X in.
Right.
So when I really started getting it, I'm like, wait, I can buy a Gucci shirt? Like, that was crazy in my mind. So for a long time, I was just going in with it. Like, some of the shit I was rocking, you might not even know was Gucci because it didn't have the logos and all that. But I was going ham with it, like going in. And that shit happened recently where, and I have my own theory on it and all that. I don't even think it was a malicious thing. They just fucked up. Whoever in the U.S. was in charge of approving things, that Italian designer designed it. They approved that shit on a white woman in an ad like that on a black sweater. They fucked up. No matter what it is, whether it's malicious or not, they fucked up. And they deserve to have the backlash they got off it. So when that happened, ironically, I just got back from Hawaii. I was in Hawaii, this is in February when it happened. And I had just bought like mad shit. And I was sitting there with my man Term and I was like, yo, I'm so frustrated, bro. Like, I just dropped all this bread and I'm not gonna rock it because, you know, until they do something to fix it, which they're working on. Shout out to Dapper Dan. That's where it goes deeper. I was going to see Dapper Dan once a month, like getting before everybody. Like, where I was out, like Fat Joe would be like, "Oh, you went to see Dan already in the new spot?" Like, I was going in with it, and like this is the point where I'm having convos with 2 Chainz about who got the newest shit, and it's like, bro, I'm not in his tax bracket. Like, he's out of here. But I was proud of myself that I was keeping up. So all that being said, this shit happens in February, and it's like, yo, Gucci's canceled right now, and I was like, oh fuck.
You had to put that on ice.
So I'm out in Hawaii, and I'm with Term, and he's like, bro, you gotta be tight, because I literally just went to see Dap and got like this crazy shit, and I'm out there with it, and I'm like, I can't rock it right now. I don't need my comments being full of, and I was with the, the concept of boycotting Gucci, and they got to make it right, which they are doing, and that's a different conversation. But anyway, so we're out there, and Term's like, bro, we're at the mall. He's like, why don't you just, go in on the low the same way? And I was like, you know what? I was like, fuck it. So I got a couple things, and I'm like, it's not new to me, but the $400 sweaters is new to me. I'm not gonna lie, I never did that growing up. I couldn't do that. So that just like snowballed to the point where, I'm going to the polo store, not the polo store, I'm talking about my man, at Polo Store on Instagram. Shout out to Andy. Now he comes to me, shout out to Andy. But like, it just turned into a thing where like, yo, I'll never call myself a low head or any of that, even though like by default it's becoming that.
Yeah.
But like, I'm not trying to be out here in front about any of that shit, dude. I've always fucked with polo. It's just now I can go a little harder, so why not, man? I'd rather support a company like that, which I should have been doing the whole time, the way I was doing all these other companies that don't give a fuck about hip hop.
I'm gonna say
Ralph's always had class with that shit.
Shout out to the downtown crossing Macy's. Everything that sells out in New York, all the polo, goes on sale up in Boston. They don't know what to do with it. I spent some time up there. I was like, hold up.
Yeah, man.
Wait, that's been
Yo, in Honolulu, I went to the store last week and they didn't have one thing over XL, but they had like the illest shit sitting there, 50% off everything. The shit that out here would like
fly.
People would they'd be there at 8 a.m. to get it.
Right.
The shit is just sitting there. And I'm hitting on my people like, yo, bro, someone needs to come get this shit. It's just sitting there.
That's how Puerto Rico be too.
Yeah, I was just out there too, and the shit was like an hour and a half away. I tried to get over there and make
Over
it
there by
about
the
there.
docks.
So do you find yourself just get okay? So are you like are you like Justin who gets everything, or are you?
Nah. Trust me, like there's been moments where I'm like, I gotta fall back because I found myself being like, I didn't need that,
Right.
and I started to do that. Now I'm like,
and would you get stuff in 3 different colors? And...
Nah, maybe. I don't do like the whole outfit and any of that because I'm not trying to start this new stuff.
Yeah,
the whole outfit.
Do you gotta be head to toe, or you just
well, head to toe in low's cool, but I'm talking about the matching, like the pieces that match.
Right.
I don't go too hard with that. Maybe once in a while.
Gotcha.
But nah, it's a thing where it feels good to be able to do it, man. And I, like I said, I'd rather support a company like that than waste all this money I was spending on Louis and Gucci and all this shit. I'm like, you know what? Let me back down. Mom's moving to New York. I gotta take care of her.
Right.
It's like, it's basically the same way I told you I only had a couple pairs of Jordans in my life, and now I have hundreds. Shit, probably 1,000. The point is like, this is all from hip hop, man. The shit we love and grew up off. Of course, I want to, And by the way, every time I see you go, oh, you showing off for real. Show off the label, the brand, the radio show, everything is not about what we're talking about. Right. It's about showing off skill. And then it's always been about that. It's about showing off gratitude. And, I've always been completely about trying to be better. And like, I don't mean better than other people. I'm talking about better yourself. Like keep learning, keep getting better. That's what show off is.
Keep pushing yourself.
Yeah, show off ain't about jewelry or clothing or none of that. It's about like for the kids to be like, yo, I want to show off and get better at rapping, get better at DJing. Like I hold DJing to a certain regard with scratching and all that.
Right.
And that's what it's about. And sometimes I catch myself, I'm like, yo, I was lazy in the mix today. I need to do some next shit next time I DJ. That's showing off.
Keep yourself sharp. That's it. And still sharp and still,
Yeah.
If they're gonna be in the
Prince and Token Tuesdays, man. He's still killing everybody on the dance floor.
I still do the dancing and all that. I gotta. That's in the heart. You know what I mean? I gotta do that. Once I've started that and people know me by that, I gotta do it. You know what I'm saying?
I wish I could dance. I used to like.
Same way I wish I could DJ like my brother-in-law, technician to DJ.
Yeah, that's my man.
All right, that's good. That, it's all coming
that's
together.
a dude that I see him and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta like, cause I was on tour. Well, I've known Tech for 20 years, but recently we were on tour together with the Locks, and he was DJing for the Locks, and I was, I had my own set on the tour, but it was with Westside Gun and Conway and Benny. And every night we would do like a back and forth thing on the turntables, and that was the funnest part of the night for me. Every night, like Tech is a beast, bro. He brings that DJing to he makes all the other DJs be like, damn, like I could be doing more.
And so humble.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what, just like you, man. That's why I know with you, I could hear the energy when I said his name, and how he's like, "Oh, Tech, oh, nah." So I know what it is.
Man. Like
Facts.
anyone that like doesn't go, "Oh, Tech," when you say his name.
But you see how,
that's a hater.
and you see how I ain't even know if you knew him, but how you said like, "Yo, I take that seriously."
Yeah,
and then I just segue into my brother-in-law, and then you went to the, he be taking.
Nah,
so I respect that.
Tech's one of those dudes that put in work, because I met him in maybe 2000 carrying crates for the Kid Capri.
Yes,
and
sir.
I used to show up. I was underage, and I'd be like, "Yo, let me carry the crate too." And shout out to Chubby Chubb, who's like a mentor to me.
Facts.
He, I'm talking up in Boston. Anytime
Yeah, I
I
know.
go up there.
Yeah. But they good friends.
Yeah,
Right.
That's family.
I got
and,
you.
Like,
Okay.
I was just happy to have my hand on Kid Capri's crate. He used to show up with 15 crates every party at a tour bus.
Oh wow.
And, that's how I met Tech, and I watched him going from opening the Kid to tearing down Coliseums.
Yes,
So
sir.
I'm mad proud of Tech.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, but Tech put that pressure on the DJ.
Yeah.
Especially if he opens.
There's certain people like that. There's Tech's one of those guys. DJ Revolution's one of those guys. There's like a certain group of people you're like, I'm going to see him because he's gonna make me like step my shit up.
That's the same way when they come to Prince Low Yachty party. They might see my brother-in-law, technician, that Static is talking about, rip down my backyard.
But Static, I think right now we're in like a golden age of DJs. Like after you guys are gone, I think
It's gonna be sad, man, because the kids are learning on like toys now.
yeah, because it's like you just premiere. Like I've seen all you guys DJ live.
Yeah. I'm looking for the young kids that are trying to like. There's a couple, but not. I don't meet too many 18-year-olds that are like, "Oh, I'm learning how to
You know what
juggle."
I'm saying? Like I'm talking about like Clark.
Yeah, that's a certain
Do
class.
they still got the scratching school?
Yeah, shout out to Scratch Academy and
Right.
What else? There's another one too. Oh, Beat Junkies Academy. I went over there
All right.
in LA.
So
and
you
it was-
pass through those to see who's up in there or whatever? Like
Sometimes
upcoming?
the problem with those schools is,
Mhm.
and I don't want to say the problem.
Okay.
The problem with what you're talking about in those schools
Mhm.
about finding the young kids.
Mhm.
Every time I go to one of them, it's like a bunch of like. There's just a couple times I've gone. It's like 40-year-olds trying to learn how to DJ, which is cool. Like, yo, do what you want to do. Like, learn if you want to learn. But that's not necessarily what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like a 16, 15, 14-year-old
Yeah,
kid being
right.
like, I want to do that.
Mhm.
It's rare nowadays. So I used to see it a little bit. I'd be on tour with Joey Badass, and the crowds would be real young at first. And I had never done that in my life. Like all my years DJing, it was always like 18 plus clubs, 21 plus clubs. Even when I was 15, they were
Right.
older crowds.
Right.
So I never had a 14-year-old come up to me and be like, "Yo, will you sign my vinyl?" And seeing that was like, oh, it gave me like a new faith in it. And that's why Joey's so important to New York hip hop, because he was like a generation inspired by all that. That
Right.
wasn't into the bubblegum rap. He came ready to spit. And now there's a
his
7-year-old
own
out there listening to
movement.
Joey right now that's gonna carry that 10
Right.
years from now.
True indeed. Yo, and shout out to Joey. Of course, shout out to Flatbush Corner. Right there on Snyder. Shout out to
Yeah,
Joey.
I met Joey a couple times.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, at Webster Hall. He was
Yeah.
at Webster Hall one time. He was there.
Yeah, man, his new album's gonna really push him to the place he needs to be. With
Right.
still, I got a couple on there, so there's some grimy shit on there. I can't talk too much about it, but he got some crazy records, man.
Yeah, because he has the younger audience.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He's one of the few, because there's a lot of people dropping music, like spitting, and they're doing well, but I think it's mostly skewing an older audience. Like, you got the Gibbs tape with Mad Lib, you got Drew putting out projects, you got the Makami, which is crazy, you got the
There's a lot
Griselda
of great
dudes,
ones.
but like, I don't know if the kids are listening to that the way they're listening to Joe.
But here's the thing: you already got kids coming out that were like rest in peace to X. He was a big Joey fan.
Mhm.
We actually got a record with Joey breaks down the whole thing.
Mm.
I don't know if it's gonna see light of day, but there's this kid YB and Corday who's amazing.
Oh,
man.
he's got bars.
And the first night he came on my show, at first I said no. I'm not gonna lie. His manager, shout out to his manager, he hit me and was like, shout out to Byron. He was like, I got this kid YBN Corday, and I heard YBN, and I had already known the other YBNs, their music they make. No hate on them, it's just not my cup of tea.
Right.
And I was like, nah, bro. And he's like, nah, listen, man, give
Corday
him a chance.
spits.
And he sent me the response, the J. Cole response. And it wasn't out yet. And I was like, oh, no, all right. He got anything else? And he sent me this other joint, this Ninth Wonder joint that never came out. It was like a freestyle. But I had him up, and the first, like, right when he walked in the station, he's like, yo, bro, like, Joey's my favorite rapper. Like, I grew up listening to you and him. Even though I've been working with Joey for 7 years now.
Right.
But that's most of his life.
Yeah, which is crazy. So YBN was like, so I saw firsthand, now he's the best young spitter out now, and he's a product of Joey. And that's, I'm seeing, it's amazing, man, seeing the generations. Because I watched when I had Mac Miller in my crib on his 18th birthday, man. He had never been to New York. Like, I watched all these layers, and then Mac was the first one to put Joey on a record. And then Action never been, on a record. I put him on his first, on Two Dope Boys. Like, I watched so many different artists in the last 10 years come out, and they're all becoming mainstays in hip hop, and it's just that,
Yeah, that project you did with Action is classic.
Yeah, man. I looked yesterday, got like 70 million streams just on Spotify.
It's a
just
classic.
Spotify.
It's a classic album.
Looking back, me and Action talked in a minute too, man. We gotta get up soon.
Gotta let go.
Just looking back at all of it, I'm ready for I'm excited to see more YBN Cordays come out and more, pro era product of pro era and product of, the first time Mac came to my crib, I've been working with Term forever, and Mac, he's like, I grew up on Term shit. And that was when I was watching that, and then watching, just, the same way Rakim, Nas would be like, yo, Rakim, I grew up off you. Nas was in the sessions. I heard some real cool stories about that. But the point is like every generation births a new product of that, and some of you get what I'm saying.
But it's cool. That
Water's wet.
Yeah, it's cool.
It's important to say it though, because like there's always, I feel like there's a certain level of gatekeeping with older generations and younger generations, like the flat out dismissal of younger artists when they might be trying to innovate new sounds and doing their own shit.
Which
and some of them
always should
are
happen. The hip hop's so wide
it's
now.
so wide. There's
open,
there's
man.
something for everyone.
Someone tells you it's not gonna work. You're a quitter if you listen to them, because it can work for anyone.
And I think there's like people who look for something that is reminiscent of classic New York boom bap shit. There's something for you out there coming out. So if you say music's not what, like you're not paying attention.
There's so much.
There's
There might
so
be more
much
than ever.
music.
There is
Yeah.
more than ever.
Absolutely.
The only thing that hurts it now is with streaming and all that. The life of the project.
Yeah.
That's what hurts.
So like that's where I look at, because I know friend of the podcast, Jazz, Rock Marcy's manager, he always talks about the economics of streaming for independent artists who aren't, if you don't have that machine behind you, you need to find different angles. But there's I think more than in my lifetime at least, or at least since the platinum era,
Right.
which is where I started getting into everything, there's such a lane for people to produce physicals now. Cassettes, vinyls, CDs, like.
But it's a limited thing though. But
It
it's
is, but it's
amazing.
good business.
For collectors,
Yeah.
yeah.
So like
But-
for people who have niche audiences, there's that more than there ever is.
Right, and that's cool. But this is the problem with streaming, man, is back in the day, you dropped an album, you could pay money, you could pay programs with Sam Goody or Best Buy or any of these companies to have your album like featured. You might have to give them a bunch, whatever it is. There was a way for your album to get placed if you had a budget.
To get that standee and
Yeah.
right when you walked in the door.
Right. Now the problem with streaming is that the most popular playlists are usually the younger style of rap, which is powered by kids streaming. You can pay all you want, but if you put a static Selektah, let's say a static Freddie Gibbs song on that playlist with all this mumble rap and all this shit, if we paid for that, it would still be a thing where these kids are like, this don't fit in, so it doesn't make sense. So my whole point of it is streaming hurts because that reason Drake goes 10 times platinum now with a double album is because it's all the streams adding up.
Yep.
Now all those songs are being streamed more than everything else because of the placements and the amount of looks it's getting off of the sound of it. So when I say that, someone like Rock Marciano or someone like Westside Gunn and Conway, their streams are never gonna touch that ever.
Yeah.
And then I'm just stating the obvious. Like, their fans are hip hop heads. They might have bought it on iTunes. They might have bought the vinyl. They might have got the limited sweatshirt.
Yeah.
They might go to the show. Whatever. They're gonna spend their money as their fans. But there's no way that a song about a song that's not Old Town Road is gonna get 10 billion streams. It's never gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I'm trying to put this in a more clear thing. For instance, with Old Town Road, I don't want to use that, but I have to because it's gonna be the most streamed song of all time.
Yeah.
It's about to break every record.
If that was a CD single, there was no streaming, a vinyl record, and it sold millions and millions of singles, it would stop at a certain point because all the people that like that song have it on cassette or CD, and that's it. They're not like the people playing Old Town Road. There's a whole bunch of 4-year-olds playing on their parents' family plan over and over and over all day, and that's counting as sales, and you're timing that by millions of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So it's like it doesn't give real music a fucking shot. It's like you cannot value music and moving on from this point forward off of streams or charts or none of that because it's all bullshit. Like no one's gonna be on the Billboard top 10 that's making anything that's not catchy or an album. It's nice to hear an album that has no corny single or like
of course.
there's no chance for any of that music like jazz or even like R&B that doesn't have like the auto tune on it. It's a beautiful thing when someone like J. Cole or Kendrick wins with that. They have an amazing movement, but that's very, very rare, and you're gonna see less and less of that. So it's like the streaming thing fucks it up because it doesn't give you a chance unless you're trying to get a hit record on a charting playlist. The playlists are everything, but like I said, if you're making grimy hip hop, even if you pay to get it on there, it's not gonna get.
I think that's why Old Town Road is dope because it's like everyone's bragging about sales on some bullshit. It's like, yo, you're not Old Town Road though. Like they can't even, like anyone whose platform is like, look at my numbers. Like your numbers aren't shit compared to this 17-year-old meme lord.
We gotta get back to
like,
the stream.
You know what I mean? Like this kid just like broke the system, right? So when it comes to like the skills and everything else, like if you like the flex of having the most streams is out the window because the song broke everything.
Yeah.
So now it's like, well, if you don't have that, what do you have? So all that fluff kind of goes out the window. So shout out to Old Town Road.
They're still figuring it all out. There's progress being made. Like this week, they just passed something where like writers and producers are gonna start getting paid directly from the streaming companies
That's
in a
good.
different
That's
way.
great.
So it's a slow process, but
I think there needs to be uniformity because like the different platforms pay out. It's not even close. Like some will be like 5x what another platform will pay
you know who
out.
pays the best?
It is Xbox Music, I think.
I don't even know about that.
But like no one's on it, so
Napster does.
Napster.
That's
Napster's
crazy.
yeah,
Out of
yeah,
all
yeah.
this time, Napster
Yeah.
is the. I mean, they have way less subscribers.
Exactly, that's the thing. So
Tidal pays 4 times Spotify.
Yeah, Tidal of the major platforms, Tidal is
Pays
the
way
best
more.
compared to Apple Music and Spotify.
Yeah.
For sure.
Shout to
That's the
Tidal.
only one that's over a cent for stream, which I mean,
It's 4 times Spotify. That's crazy.
yeah.
And Spotify has a big,
But they
big
have
time.
like 20 times more
Yeah.
subscribers.
Yeah, but that's crazy though. Just the economics of that is like, it's hard, man.
Yeah, I mean, but looking at independent artists, looking like someone like a Currency, right? I guess we could call Stoned Immaculate his one mainstream release, right? That was the one where he stayed true to his sound. But he got more commercial success through that. He always had his core audience. Always dropped a lot of tapes, dropped projects independently, and most of the bread comes off touring. Touring and merch.
That's all.
It's
all
all-
his money comes from doing from touring and merch and all that. Like he drops an album every week, so it's not possible for him to. He literally drops an album almost every week. It's crazy.
It's consistent. It's like so.
It's one thing if I do it as a producer. It's all different artists. He's
Right.
doing it. The same rappers dropping an album every week, and it's mind blowing.
Yeah.
But
Like-
I mean, if you're getting that bread doing that show and that consistent merch money coming in, you right.
He has his own approach to it where like, yo, if you keep shooting, you're not gonna miss certain people. Like some
Right.
people, he just dropped an album with Burner. That's not for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
He dropped an album with Freddie Gibbs. That's not for everybody.
Nope.
He covers the like even the shit he did with me. That's not for some of his other fans that might come on trap beats.
Right.
He got an album with Carrie Fraud. He got an album with Wiz Khalifa. That's all like this year.
Right.
Yeah.
He's like,
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Give everybody a little bit of their flavor.
yeah. And then when he comes out to your city, you're gonna bring all these different people together.
No doubt.
Not a lot of artists can do that.
Yeah, but once you have like an audience, a niche audience that is gonna be there for you, that's it.
Yeah, I think in a lot of ways for an independent artist, like if you get that core following, they're gonna stick with you forever.
You're good.
And you know, as this continues to grow, I mean, hip hop's 40+ years old already. But as this continues to grow, like I was talking to my friends earlier, I'm 28, right? So I'm sort of like in this in between of like I'm not an older hip hop head, but I'm not one of these young kids either. I grew up on all this. It's like as we continue to get older, like when we want to go out to spots, are they gonna be like the jazz clubs? Like it's gonna be the hip hop clubs that are gonna be. Are they gonna be playing like
already
directors?
like that. You already
It's sort of getting there, right?
Any city you go to has a night like a Toka Tuesdays or like you know, you go into LA, there's fly spots that only play classic hip hop.
The grown and sexy classic hip hop spots.
Miami got a bunch of them. The places you go, Dallas. I did a party in Dallas like last month. That shit was nothing but. I thought, you know, back in the day, I used to go down south and I used to be on the radio in Mobile, Alabama. You go to the club in Mobile, Alabama. You play a Biggie record and people are like, what are you doing? So my idea of the South was always off that. I mean, Atlanta was always different. Miami was different. So when I started going to Texas, I thought it was going to be like that. Nah, man. They love Nas, Biggie, Jay. Like Benny just sold out a show there a couple nights ago. I sold out a spot out there just me rocking classics. Like, I love Houston, Dallas. Austin is one of the greatest places for music. You know, it depends where you go.
Yeah, you gotta get out there in Houston.
Hey, Statik, what's the what do you think that has the best hip hop nightlife scene right now?
In the city?
I mean, you travel all over.
That's a hard question.
You know, because I know it's not New York.
Miami is good, man.
I know it's not New York.
Miami's good.
Nah, New York goes through phases. Right now, it's not one of them.
Right.
There's been great phases in New York.
There's been great phases.
That Santos era, like when you could pop into anywhere downtown.
Yeah, Santos.
You could smoke out anywhere.
Those nights where I was going to 6-7 clubs a night, and they were all fun. I was having a good time.
Santos, Greenhouse. And then if you didn't want to go to Greenhouse,
I used to have number 8 used to be popular.
You could have did an hour in each club and
that was the shit. That was the shit. I remember one night I was at number 8 and I seen Kweli and he's like, yo, I'm going to meet up with Kim and Kanye. We're going to see Dave Chappelle private. And we went to this private show. Dave didn't even get on stage till like 4:30.
Right.
Then we went back over there, and then we went to some after hours. Like it was just those are the nights that were crazy. Like New York has that once in a while, but it's like nah. Right now there's a lot of dope shit going on this summer.
Yeah, I can remember me and Statik. We went to Santos, One Oak. And then we went someplace else, and then someplace else. Like we didn't finish at like 7 o'clock. It was years ago though. Just had he did a gig in One Oak, and we went with him. Like Alex Rodriguez was there. It was a weird night. Like, it was weird.
I used to be able to do it like get up, go out, go to the day parties, stay rocking the whole day, go to 5 parties a night. Like I try now, and it's like listen, man. Like today's gonna be one of those days.
Right.
I'll be alright. Last night I was at bed by like 2:30, and that's early. I was outside the spot last night, like after I went to Soul House last night. I went to the Day Last Soul show. I went to the after party that was at the mail room, and then we were outside the last spot. And I just looked at my man Don, and I was like, "Let's get the fuck out of here." We went home and like Uber Eats McDonald's. And my daughter came upstairs at 3:30, and I got yelled at.
Wow. But but I think another thing is you know, being a father now, and I think you showing the right way to bring up your kids. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? Because we don't have that. You know, dads get a bad representation. You know, I got 4 kids. Brand's got 2 kids. You know what I'm saying? Robbie, not yet. But I'm just saying sometimes we get a bad rap. You know what I'm saying? It's always we hear about the mother.
That's definitely people are hard on dads.
You know what I'm saying? But I think to see how you are with your daughter. It's beautiful, man. I'm telling you, like, cause I can remember when you didn't have a daughter, and you know, in a way, the progression that you are now, like, you're a totally different person.
Yeah, I had to switch it up, man. I'm happy to be here, man. There was a lot of wild. When I had the crib in Bushwick on Melrose Street, I lived there for 8 years.
It was
some of the shit that went down there, man. When I moved out, there was like a bullet hole in the window. There was knife marks all over the walls. There was like we had a pool there one time, and people were like. Almost getting electrocuted by lightning. Like it was so crazy over there. Like we lived through a lot of times, man. A lot of drugs, a lot of partying, and it's like now I'm here. Like I know when to chill now, you know. And that's the best thing is just know when to chill.
The thing I like about you, but you keep it 100 though. You know what I'm saying?
I never front about
You
it.
never
Like, I got a
front.
crazy past, but it is what it is.
Never front. You know, it can even be like, you know, even years ago, you'd be going through something, you'd be like, yeah, we can't talk about this.
Oh, porn stars
You know?
everywhere, like
You know?
crazy shit. Stripper poles in the crib, like it was.
Oh, man.
I can't wait to write the book.
You need to write a book.
Exactly.
You gotta have some memoirs, bro.
Yeah, I'm not ready yet though. I need a couple more
Statute of
trophies.
limitations.
I think about it. So I literally have the chapters like in my head, the names of the chapters,
Right.
and like how I'm gonna reword people's names because certain things I can't just say their person's
Listen, you're
name.
gonna have to, you're gonna have to.
Some good ones.
I think that's a lot of us.
But
I learned from reading Prodigy's book because I was like, damn, he's saying some crazy shit. Rest in peace, P, man. That was my
Right.
dude.
Real.
What
But
you
I
gonna say,
mean,
man?
what I was gonna say, like on some grown shit, like from back when you was doing all that adventurous shit.
Yeah.
Now as fatherhood, you could really lay back and relax and embrace fatherhood. You know what I'm saying? Because you ain't running out there trying to relive nothing that you ain't seen before. You know what I'm saying? So that's it kind of peace of mind.
Yeah. This past week, I ended up extending my trip in Hawaii, and I had like a lot of time, like just to think about things I don't usually get to think of.
Right.
And without going too far into detail, I analyzed. A therapist once told me I had PTSD, and I was like, definitely, like, there's a lot of shit. Like, I lost a lot of friends in a short time, and it all came back. I don't get too far into detail, but a friend of mine lost his daughter at a very, like, she was really young, and I saw her in her final hours, and like, this is the early 2000s, and it like hit me this week. Like, I realized the reason I'm so everywhere I am with my daughter, it all goes back to that. Because I'm like mad careful. Like, I don't let her, like, I hold her hand everywhere. Like, I see certain people let their kids run around the streets at like the age she's at, and I'm like, you're bugging.
They wild.
Like, I have every anxiety possible from the way cars drive by to heights. I'm like really scared of heights, and that has to do with what happened too. But now it's like I'll be in the hotel with her, looking at the railing, like the porch, like having the worst anxiety of my life. I'm inside the room, and I'm still looking at it, just like all these evil things I've seen in my life are coming into this. The reality of having a daughter, and like not even if it was a son. The point is having a baby and having a kid and being in charge. Like, I literally was in bed today. I'm not gonna make this shit up. This is pretty personal. It was like 5 a.m, and I was trying to get her to go back to bed, and she's on my iPhone watching YouTube, and I literally looked at her and I was like, I see God right now, like, because she looks like, not like me like a dude, but I see my face every time I look at her, and it was it was a humbling moment. That was today, and I was like, that's God right there. I'm not a religious person, and I was like, if God exists, it does exist, because that's God. The fact that we can create these extensions of ourselves that are going to be so much better, and that's a whole different conversation.
Well, that's a gift from God that you gotta cherish and guide through until adulthood for them to, respect everything you embraced in them, and carry on the legacy that you've provided all these years, working all this time for her. You know what I'm saying? To be able to take it to Hawaii, for you to be able to take it to Tokyo and Disney World, and you know what I mean? So, all praises due to what you do, man. Keep illuminating.
I think we come from a generation, we're all similar ages at some point. We come from a generation where, like, my dad always had like me and him don't really talk that much, but like he always had like an attitude when I started getting successful. And I always fucking was like, yo, I can never imagine in a million years my daughter like doing something great and me being like, whatever. Like, he had an attitude about it like the whole time. And even this week, we finally trying to rehash it. And he's like, I said something on the phone to him, and he was like, what else? Like, yo, bro, I got your granddaughter in Tokyo right now, and you're like mad about it. Like, what the fuck is going on? And he might not even intend it that way, but just in my head, knowing how he's been my whole life, I'm like, yo, what the fuck, man? Like, I want her to be 20 million times better than me at everything. And you know what? The things she's not, cool, I will do anything. I walk to the edge of the earth to help her do whatever she can do.
Right.
And then I hope she teaches me a million things. And me and my mom are like that. My mom,
Right.
you know, she taught me how to hustle, I was selling lemonade and baseball cards. By the time I was 10, I was
Right.
making a couple $100 a week
Right.
hustling. She used to have garage sales, and that's like, she never went to college, never. I'm the first one in my family to ever even go to school. And I got like I learned so much from both of my parents, and now I brought my mom to Paris. Doing shit like that is the best,
Yeah.
and be able to do that. Like I hope Harley brings me to Mars someday.
For real.
Like,
real talk.
it should be like that.
We want that to
It's
go
supposed
to
to be-
Mars.
Yeah, you know, but
That's exactly how it's going to be.
it's a gift,
It's a
man.
higher purpose.
Yeah, it's the best gift, man.
Yeah, cause that's what I feel. Cause I have a daughter too. She's 5, and you know, I feel the same way. I just want her to do better than I could do. And anything she wanna do, she gonna do it. Cause you know, but I still think it's different. Cause I have boys and I have girls, so I think it's different when you have a girl.
Oh, of course.
I do. It's like a different, like you said, that sense of.
Well, my girl is 20,
Yeah.
so she on her own. But I've raised her enough and guided her enough where she like, yo, daddy, I got that. I know what it is. Say less and do more. Cause that's all it's about.
You got a son too?
Yeah, I got a son that's 6.
So you
Yeah.
can't really compare yet because they're so different in age. But
Right.
how like you feel? Because you know they always say daddies and daughters are a certain way, and then daughters
Like
and,
daughters
and
more
sons
closer.
and, like I'm closer with my mother.
Right.
Like
So
I'm
am
not
I,
saying
right.
my daughter's gonna be closer with me than her mom. I'm just saying like I always like to ask parents that have both the difference because it is completely.
But I definitely feel the more energy with my daughter. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, I think-
even her mother knows. Like I just carried you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? For you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then my son now he look at me up and down and be like, yo, where mommy at? Straight up. And John be there at the crib. He know what it is. And Robbie. Yo, he's definitely his mom's child. And I appreciate that because this ain't the time for me to step in with him. When he get grown and feel himself and start bigging up his chest, that's when daddy step in.
Yeah.
And then mommy know that's when to step back. So right now it's like a good cop, bad cop type of situation, but we make it balanced. You know what I'm saying?
It's a happy household though.
But I know the love is there,
Yeah.
but I just know that
It's different.
if the thunder strike, like in the crib, he running, yo, where mommy, more than yo, daddy, you know what I'm saying? So
I
it's
just
all
never,
good.
my whole life, I never had to think about like what girls. I have a sister, but she's like 30 years older than me, so I didn't grow up with her. I never had to think of like, a little girl. You have a little girl and she cuts her like her ankle or something. You're like, oh, come here. Do you want to hug her and kiss her? With a little boy, it's like, I mean, this is how I was raised. It's like, yo, grow up. Like
you good,
you'll
man.
heal
You're
up.
good.
You'll be fine.
You wipe it
Get
off,
back
wipe
on your
it
bike.
over, yeah.
Get back on the bike.
Go keep on.
Oh, you broke your arm? Cool. Go hold. Like for real, I raised BMX growing up, so I used to get fucked up. Like I would go over and jump, get the handlebars stuck, land on my face, get knocked out, concussions, all that. And my dad would be like,
Yo.
I hope you learn your lesson. With a
It's
little
so tough.
girl, it's like you can't do that, bro. I don't let her like even,
Cause I mean, I'm on both ends of the spectrum. Like I have a 21-year-old and I have a 5-year-old.
Yeah.
So my 21-year-old, he's busy being a man and doing his thing.
Right.
Now, I will say this, my daughter is like really clingy to me. But she lives in Florida, but she's still super clingy to me, like FaceTime, when I go down there, it's like daddy, that. So yeah, I just think boys and girls, kids are different.
Yes, definitely.
But the thing is, what I'm gonna tell you, is if you ever have a son, that your daughter's gonna be the one, like say you need something, whatever, or God knows what's gonna happen to her. Your daughter will be the one that's gonna be there for you. I mean, and I just, even with friends, I think Sahan's gonna be there for you, and Mark is gonna be too busy being Mark.
Exactly.
Which is not a bad thing. That's just how
Not
it
at
is.
all.
That's just how. That's my opinion.
Real talk, man.
And Robbie has no
One
kids.
day.
One day.
You got a lot of time, bro.
Yeah. Have fun, man.
Eddie Murphy still having kids, man. You good?
Listen, it never cuts off for us. We just keep on going, bro.
I'm one and done though. No more.
So you sure about that?
Yeah, we went through a lot of the first. We had a pregnancy before. And
Right.
we were so worried about Harley, and she like even when she first was born, the doctor's like, we think she has sickle cell and all this other stuff, and it was just like so stressful. And she ended up just coming out. You know, it takes a couple months sometimes for the blood work to really.
Right. To see
You know, the baby's so young that
I
sometimes.
didn't mean to cut your wisdom, but one of y'all had the sickle cell trait.
Yeah, well, her mother's Puerto Rican, so it was in her family or whatever. Because I know a lot of white people don't usually have it,
Right,
but it was like a good possibility, and they were like, "This is how you gotta do it. Moving on." And the second blood test, you know, when a baby's born, the blood is not clear because it's such a new thing.
Right.
So certain results will come back wrong, and it was wrong, and she's knock on wood, she's
Thank
completely
God.
healthy, man. And you know, nowadays you gotta worry about everything from, you know,
Fact.
hey man, she's healthy.
Exactly. Everything. But anyway, let's get off these
It's a
serious.
beautiful life, man.
Let's get off these serious
You know what I'm
topics.
saying?
You know, so Static, what's your favorite line of polo that you rock?
Man,
Because I mean,
Sure.
you know, there's like,
I love all the sportsman stuff is like, I love that.
you know, like they have the P-wing stuff, they have the high tech
Yeah,
stuff.
I wasn't too, I got some P-Wing stuff. I'm not too crazy about it. Like, to me, it's like, it just comes off as the more generic, like, you know, stuff at Macy's is 75% off. Like, I like all
The last act.
yeah.
People love that last act. They
Yeah.
love it over there. You know who you are.
I love all the
Got that
bear
text
stuff,
this morning.
man. All the bear tees and all the, I got some real dope sweaters.
Right.
I like the, you know, the stadium stuff, but I didn't get too heavy into it. There's obviously Snow Beach and all that, but that's another thing I was like real careful about, because I'm not gonna go drop $1,200 on the original joint, you know, the Raekwon joint and all that, and like I'm not gonna go do all that and act like I was doing that back then. I'm not trying to do that with any of this.
Nah, well, I think, no,
I got the black and white one though, because I hadn't
the-
seen that many people have that one. Not as many, so
Yeah,
I
no,
got that.
That's the one to get, because
Yeah.
the first color, everybody and their mother got.
Plus, I'm not really a yellow in the way, you know, the original. It's not my skis like that.
But what I'm saying is, you don't have to worry about that, because people, they already consider you a low head, man.
I'm not looking for no things.
And I know you don't want it. I know
That's coming from these guys.
Yeah.
That's official. That's as official
Shout
as
out
it
to
gets.
Thurston and all them too, because I know all these dudes. Like,
Friend of the podcast.
yeah, like I know all the. And I said this to Just too. Like I told him the first time he ever saw me with some shit on.
Right.
He was like, okay, and I was like, listen, bro, I'm not trying to do all that, but here's why. And he got it.
Listen, you don't have to try. You organically have
Yeah.
become a low head. And I know you don't want. I understand, but
And once you rock it right, it's organic,
Exactly.
it's regular, it's
It's
genuine.
that you gotta understand. There's not a lot of people that's rocking it,
That make it look easy.
and you all over the world with it.
Word.
That's a big difference. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate it, bro.
And people, you know what I'm saying? People give me props for that. I mean, you know, because my ears on the street. It's like, yo, Static,
Oh, damn.
blah, 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 blah. Like, you know, I went out.
Oh yeah, we
me
just
too.
went out.
Oh, you slapped it.
You got an engineer or no?
No, I'm back.
Okay.
I'm
You're
back.
back.
I'm back.
I'm
No, because I
back.
heard it and I just heard my foot. It just makes sense. But anyway,
Oh, you see.
That shit was beep. You have 60 seconds left
I
on this
know.
call.
I keep on hitting the thing. Well, you guys talk. I can't hear myself. So y'all can talk.
I mean, I don't need no headphones, man. As long as I can see that little, I know. Hey, check. There we go.
He's got the view of the monitor, so we're
Yeah,
good.
I've been doing this radio microphone
Yeah, so-
headphone world for a long time.
So your platform is one where, you know, we talked a little bit about how you got like a lot of real MCs coming through. Like, it's one of the few, you know, I know Flex does his freestyles and, you know, which is a cool platform too, but you've been doing this a long time for having, you know, on Shade 45 and
14 years on Shade
14 years. And I mean, that's a little, like, I don't even know how long they've been around. Is it? I mean, probably
15.
15.
I started 1 year. I would go to Clinton's Park show, and
Yeah.
he would let me do like an hour, and then I started doing half the show, and then he kind of like left the hip hop world a little. I mean, completely now, but he started making a lot more like poppy stuff and doing Beyonce
Poppy
and all this stuff.
EDM.
So he kind of like left me the show, and then they were like, "Yo, it's like you want to rename it?" I was like, "Yeah, show off radio." But shout out to Clinton for definitely always, you know, opening doors for me.
So have you ever felt like pressure to get away with what you organically love to do at that? Like, is there like...
Nah, that's why they kept me. I mean, they didn't. Paul and shout out to Reef, who's no longer there. He's at Apple Music now. But they didn't have to give me a show. Like the whole station was icons in the mixtape world.
Right.
Like, and I was doing my thing, but I wasn't K Slay or Who Kid or any Tony Touch. Like, they gave me that cosign, and of course, shout out to Eminem, who that's his station.
Right,
And when
right.
I would hear certain feedback from that camp, it would be like, damn, like it's an honor. And through the show, the first time Chance the Rapper was ever on the radio was my show. The first time, Joey, Action, Vic Mensa, Mac Miller, shit, I could go on and on and on and on. Some YBN, Westside Gun and Conway, Benny, like the list goes on and on and on through all those years. Even like I'm forgetting so many that were like, we had J. Cole up in like 2008. We had there's so many I'm forgetting. Sky Zoo, from that whole, there's so many eras there. The 14 years.
14 years.
Yeah, and I'm proud to say I usually am the first cat to have them up because I'm already on the music, and then everybody else kind of falls into line and has them up, and then they get I've watched these dudes go from like literally offering money to be on the radio to being A-list superstars, and it's funny how certain ones remember what really happened, and other ones act like they like, it's this. I call it the Drake syndrome with certain artists, because like Drake came up idolizing Slim Village and Little Brother, and he became Drake who Drake is now, and he never went back and made not one record to kind of be like, all right, that's the shit I grew up on. I want to like, yeah, I don't get that. Like, you
I don't. Now that you have the ability to do whatever you want, why don't you?
Right.
There's
It's
no
weird to
passion
me.
to
It's
go-
weird to
yeah.
me because there's a lot of artists that like are so big that they can help out the cast that they came up off or influenced by.
Or at least sample and get the royalties.
Yeah,
right?
anything.
Yeah.
And it's like instead they do songs with like Gucci Mane and all. And I'm not even talking shit about Gucci Mane. I'm just saying like they'll do songs with people that
Who already
don't
have
even
that
make the music they grew up making.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, now I'm gonna go do this, and it just never made sense to me ever. Just never made sense.
Do you think that's a company thing, or you think that's a person?
I think it's part of the game being fucked up, man. I mean, it's very cliquey, and I've had issues with certain artists where I'm like, not like Khaled's a very good friend of mine, and I watched his whole like. I remember when he was just promoting the clubs every night, running around, and he picked me up the day he bought his. It was the Make It Rain video shoot of the remix. And he picked me up in his baby blue Bentley. It was like, yo, get in. I'm gonna play you this record. And I got in the car and he played me We Take It Over. And he's like, watch what I'm about to do. And I watched what he did. So the reason I'm bringing up Khaled is I have an issue with certain artists that like I helped out a lot. Like I'm talking about like connected them with either legendary producers or put them on the show or got the records broke or whatever it was. And then it's time for them to do a verse with me, and they're like, yo, I'm not doing features. And they do the feature for Khaled, and I'm like, yo, I love Khaled, but not for nothing. He didn't know who the fuck you were till like last week. Like, what? There's certain people I'm like, yo, bro, you forgetting how the game goes. And then they start coming back down, and the phone starts ringing. It's like, nah, I'm good, bro, enjoy.
Yeah,
like,
because I remember
Enjoy your descent.
yeah. Everything that goes up comes down. Believe that. Nobody stays up, bro.
I know Static remember the whole Troy Ave thing too.
Yeah, I don't like talking about any of that.
Yeah.
You know why? It's just bad energy.
Yeah.
And I was there for a lot of
that's what I'm saying.
the whole thing.
I mean, we was there, me and you. Remember when his album release party? Like it was like at Tammany Hall.
Yeah, I'm doing choices.
Yeah.
You know who's the first one to get Troy on my show?
Damn.
Sean Price.
Oh, yeah, because
I think Hovane's his cousin or something.
Yeah,
and he was like, yo, I need a
cousin.
solid. And I was
Facts.
like, all right, man, the music didn't really fit my show. This is before he started doing all that New York shit.
Right.
He was making like, club, like, I don't even know what it was. It just wasn't that restore the feeling, whatever he's saying.
Right.
And I was like, I'll do it for you, Sean. And I had him up. This is like 2012, maybe. And then the next year, I don't even want to talk about that shit. It's just bad energy.
Yeah.
So just switching gears, just aspirationally, is there an artist you haven't gotten to work with, like a singular one that you're like, this is my white whale, this is, or not to put him up on a pedestal,
I
like,
fucked
this is
up
like
with a couple, like
who I want to work with near future.
Kendrick's a dude that I was like, I met very, very early. We were texting each other and all that, and I never like put my foot on the gas to make it happen. And then we seen each other, a grip of times, and he always shows love and shit. But that's something that I could have done way more with.
Could still happen.
Yeah.
But Kendrick was around, like.
Yeah, he was around. Like I used to
a
see him
lot.
at SOBs
Yeah, he
and
was
like I
around
see
a
him at
lot.
events.
That infamous
Yeah.
Charles Hamilton freestyle where Charles
I was
Hamilton
there
was the
that
budding
night.
star and then Kendrick
Because I
took the
can
mic.
remember, I never used to know who he was, and I just
Mhm.
would see him. I'm thinking, who is that little short guy?
I mean, Vashti did the ADHD
Yeah.
video, on what was that, on Stanley?
Drake used to be
Yeah,
at
and that's
Santos and
all
shit.
the time.
Yeah.
That was another one where,
Yeah.
yo, Drake actually shows me a lot of love when we talk, but that was the thing where like I was trying to get him on my album, and like he put out the So Far Gone like the week after I was like trying, and it was like he was so far gone, literally like it was over. But he almost got on my 100 Proof album.
Right.
That was the thing that was one of the things that almost happened. I learned a lesson from Wiz Khalifa because I always thought Wiz had a star quality, but I wasn't a fan of him in like 2008. And then he got dropped, and I was kind of while he was still signed to Warner. This is before Atlantic, like he was signed to Warner, and he had that song "Say Yeah," and I wasn't a fan of it.
His poppy.
His man Artie hit me like, "Yo, Wiz." So they came to my crib. Artie and this dude Boaz, shout out to Boaz from Pittsburgh. He's now with Rostrum. They came to the crib, and Boaz had a brown paper bag for me to buy a beat, and Artie's like, "Yo, Wiz wants a beat, but like he's doing his thing, so like he just send him beats. Like basically, you saying we're not paying you." And I was like, "I'm not really a fan. I'm good, bro." And I like watched Wiz. After that, he got dropped. Everybody thought it was over, and he made Kush and Orange Juice, linked up with Currency and all that.
Yeah.
And I heard that, and I was like, "Oh, this kid's finding this sound. I like this now." And I reached back out, and they were like, "Nah, we're good, bro." I was like, okay. So then when Artie came to me with Mac Miller, this is super early. Like his first video, I think Nike's on My Feet came out. And I was like, yo, I'm not going to let what happened with Wiz happen with this, because I see the quality, even though like I wasn't a fan of Nike's on My Feet, but the pizza in, what was it, frozen pizza and cool. When I heard that, I was like, nah, I'm like, get him up here. And he came up here, and that kind of unraveled different. But I always told Wiz that story, and now me and Wiz got, I had 2 records on the album he just dropped. I got one on his next one. He did the first single for my last album. But that was always like a lesson where I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give. If I feel like something has the potential to be there, I'm gonna give it a chance.
You might be the catalyst to get them.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's the producer's role sometimes.
Yeah.
Something gotta happen for something to happen.
And when I first heard Joey, man, like the first song I heard from him, I was like, this is cool, I've heard it before.
Yeah.
And then like the second song I heard, I was like, nah, let's get in the lab. And then, the rest is history with that.
But you sort of knew that like it was like real potential there, even though like you say the first one you didn't like, but you saw the potential there.
Well, when I look back, I keep it a buck, bro. The first one was Survival Tactics, and rest in peace, Steez. I was like, yo, I knew the beat from the 90s. I'm like, these kids are just rapping on old, what was it, Styles and Beyond? They're just rapping on an old 90s beat. I was like, that's cool, like the bars are cool, but I was like,
It's like
there's
a
nothing
nostalgia
different
act,
about it.
yeah.
But I didn't understand what the kids watching it were taking in from that.
They had never seen that.
Yeah, so I didn't understand that. And then I heard Hard Knock, and I was like, I seen the visuals and all. I was like, nah, this kid got it. Let's get in the studio.
Right.
And then going back and going on tour, and like the first tour we did, for a long time, Survival Tactics was Joey's biggest record.
Right.
And then like right away, Steve's died, and it was like, oh man, like it just, the record brought on a whole new energy, and that's like one of the illest losses ever, man. That like the closest thing we had to Steve's where someone died at such an early point was that kid, what was his name? Kid Hood. He was on the Tribe remix, Scenario remix.
Right.
Like you got to hear him for a second, he was gone,
right.
and it was like, what the fuck? Like Steve's would have been a hip hop legend, bro. Like he was that ill. We only did 2 songs together, but he was just in the corner of my crib, like to himself, sitting on the floor.
Right.
And he's like, yo, I got something for this, put it on. And it was like water. And I'm just sitting there like, yo, one take. Like sometimes I open the Pro Tools session and just like play the acapella from the beginning of the beat to the end of his verse. And I'm like, this kid was just like special, man. Like he did it on some like the way a Black Dot goes in and just nails it in one take. Steez did that, and I was like, damn, man. Like really big loss, man. And then second to that is definitely Mac Miller, because Mac got to shine and live his life. Way too short gone,
Right.
But he got to do it. Steve's never even got to do any of it. It's just so sad.
Yeah.
We lost a lot, man.
Yeah.
I gotta say Sean Price, Prodigy.
And you were close to Sean too.
Me and when Sean passed, it was like we were closer than ever, and he was
Yeah, that's crazy.
And right now, the fights to keep the
mural
up.
Yeah, but you know what? If it's gonna cause more drama than intended, let's put up 4 new ones.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
That's my
The
attitude.
location or whatever.
If the people that, first of all, I heard like 5 different stories about it, and
Yeah.
everyone seems to be wrong. So I
Yeah.
don't know the real story, and I feel bad if one of those companies is getting flack for something they didn't even do.
Right.
Right.
Because I heard a whole nother story yesterday, and I was like, all right. So I don't even know what the true story is.
The one that's out there is that there's, I guess it's a restaurant called Meat.
But they've already said publicly, like, we have nothing.
They're like, we don't, we want it
So,
to.
and that's what I was thinking. If it's across the street, what they got at the wall?
No matter what it is, it's like, it's like the thing that happened with Prodigy. They kept going over it, and you know what? There's other Prodigy murals out there.
Right.
Not for nothing, and Bernadette said this. She's like, if they take the mural down, we're gonna put one up in Brownsville. That was his hood anyway. Where the mural is, that's not even Sean's hood.
No doubt.
So it's like, obviously, I want it to stay up. I was there when they put it up. Like I've been there a couple times, but it's like, P's legacy is way bigger than the painting.
Right.
Absolutely.
It's an amazing mural,
Yeah.
but like, we'll be okay, man. Let's put up. Literally, I'll pay that dude. I'm saying this on on your podcast. I'll pay the dude. What's his name?
Mirror.
Yeah.
I'll pay for him to do 2 more. You know what I mean? Like, it's not about that. Sean's legacy's living no matter what. I got that shit on my leg right here,
No
bro.
doubt.
Before anything, Sean was part of my like history. Like, he's the reason I signed the Duck Down. I remember doing street team for Duck Down like way back, where him and Rock would just be in the back seat, not talking for 4-hour drives to Boston and back. Like, I was there for a lot of the Duck Down stuff, and to be family with them now is amazing. But beyond all that, those final like months when Sean was here, bro, like, we have hours and hours of footage of him telling the most classic stories. Shout out my man Mac, who helped put together the Feat.Statik thing. He has like just hours of Sean telling stories in my living room.
His stories.
We're gonna use it for something someday.
If you never heard of Sean Price story,
Crazy, like,
sheesh.
and I just saw a clip last week that I was like, wow, like, it was just same thing with Prodigy, man. He lived next door to me, like literally the next building,
Right.
and he would come over and like talk to my daughter before she could even talk, and like it was just like. The memories are there, man. But shout out to P's family too, because I see his daughter a lot, and it's a big loss, man. We're losing a lot too young.
Yeah, I mean, it's like these leaders. We just leave, like, even with Nipsey, over on the West Coast. I just think that even like I was watching a video with Master P. How he's saying we need to give people their flowers while they're here.
Yeah.
But he's right. Like, we giving all this accolade and stuff to all these people, but when they were here, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I think Nip definitely knew he was
a
appreciated, especially in the final days, because he got the Grammy nomination. He started. Nip was working so hard for a long time and not really being acknowledged by the major league of things. And towards the last year, he really was.
The momentum was crazy. Yeah.
Like, not everybody gets it. Nas still hasn't got a Grammy. Like, there's a lot of people that haven't. Nip got that, and now look at his brand and his. It's a complete loss, but it's he's an amazing dude, and I think he knew how special he was, and people were definitely reminding him. I went out to the store, and the energy on that block's crazy, man. It's like
that's what everybody says that goes there. Like,
I can't believe he was just hanging out there like on a regular basis. It's a crazy area, man. And
well, like they said that he felt that was his neighborhood, and
He comfortable
he
in
comfortable
his
in his own, like, you know what I'm saying, like,
as he should be. That's why he put a store in the community, started trying to buy the block, stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? No matter what was going on around the elements.
Yeah, but it's hard because the hood don't got no love though. You right about
That's
that?
facts.
it's not true. The hood does have love. It's just like there's always a couple people that are mad that
It's a lot of
they're
hate.
doing what they want to
It's
hear.
a lot of hate. Even where I come from.
I mean,
in the '90s, there's a lot of hate.
You gotta spread love, man. Everybody got their own journey. And envying another man's success is crazy.
Right.
For real, cause all the time I hear people tell, not even to just me, to other people. I've heard people be like, "Yo, man, I want to like do this and this and this about what they're doing." It's like, bro, do you like? You want to be labeled the second blah 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 or the first you? I remember when I first started like getting looks, people would be like, "Yo, you're like the new Primo," and I always hated that. It's obviously a compliment. Primo's my favorite ever. That's my big bro. But like, I don't want to be the new Preem. I want to be the first Static. Like, and that's how everybody should be, no matter what you do. If you're a doctor or you're a fucking artist or you're a singer, whatever you do. If you're a scientist, you don't want to be called the next Einstein. You want to be called the first you, man. Leave your own legacy.
Sure do.
Yeah, you know, well, I think social media plays into that too. There's a lot of people that, you know, they see a scope or something and then they just, you know, instead of like, yo, let me do, you know what I'm saying, I'm gonna be better than that. They're like trying to just emulate off of what they see, you know what I'm saying?
You know what would be the most genius, I don't want to use the word terrorist attack, but if a quote unquote terrorist really wanted to terrify the world, they'd come out with some kind of virus to just like disable Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook for like 2 months. You would see straight chaos out there. Like you would literally see madness. People would be dying, craziness. Like people would kill themselves if they didn't have Instagram. You know how many girls out there have 1 million followers that if you took away Instagram tomorrow, their life turns into like
nothing.
A puff of smoke?
Exactly.
Bro, it's crazy.
I remember like a couple days ago, Twitter was down. I was like, oh man, Twitter's down. I gotta tweet about. Oh shit, how do I tweet about this? What do I?
Yeah, it's like, wait, do I have to go
Do
outside?
I call somebody? What do I do?
A baseball glove falls out of the closet on your hand. You're like, oh man, maybe I should get that fresh air.
Well, I mean, I don't think I think it's not a good thing if we're too dependent on.
I hope something happens that
something has to
changes
happen.
the.
It was never that type of way pre-Instagram and social media in the industry.
Well, remember
just in
MySpace,
the
you
world.
check in, read your messages, reply, and log off. Go do something.
You know, once Facebook came, it changed the game.
Definitely.
But if you know when Facebook started, you had to be in college and stuff like that.
Yeah, I gave up on that shit. Like, I haven't been on Facebook in a long time.
Yeah, that's that.
he hates Facebook.
I think the last.
My parents' Facebook request is still pending, like a year and a half later. So it's true to that. Or
He
you
was
just
like, yo, I sent you a message so you ain't see it.
Oh, those are the worst. I ain't on, this ain't 2009. I ain't on Facebook. I think I have like 10,000 unread messages. I'll never read them ever.
Exactly.
So on that note,
Poor Facebook. Who actually owns? They own it.
Man, not poor Facebook. They're rich as hell.
Rich as hell. Like, don't feel too bad for the machine.
Small tidbit, man. Mark Zuckerberg was going to school at Phillips Exeter Academy while I was doing radio there. I was like 14, 15 on the radio. I didn't go to that school though.
Right.
I went to the local high school,
Right.
and they had to give 4 people a year shows on the academy station because it was FM, and they try to look out for the vocals or whatever. And I would always write an essay and like fight to get a show, and every year I would get it. But he was going to school there while he was like coming up with these ideas, and then he went to Harvard. All that started up there.
Oh wow.
And it's crazy looking back at it. Know who else went there? John Forte.
Oh.
Did you get any Zuckerberg or Forte freestyles?
Nah, Forte's a little bit older. He graduated like right before I moved up there because I grew up in Methuen and Lawrence, which is like 30 minutes north of Boston.
Gotcha.
And when my parents got divorced, I moved. My dad worked in New Hampshire, so that's where Phillips is. And we moved up there, and yeah, that changed everything. I got to see like what I was taking for granted, because when you take someone that's like around all this energy that was like normal and take it out, and you go up there, it's like 4 kids in the school even listen to hip hop. It was like, oh nah, like I was, I was just so into it. I think I heard like Scenario, and the next week my parents were like, we're moving. I was like, what? And then I wasn't around any of that no more. It was like, now I have to go, I was taking.
You gotta dig.
Search. Yeah.
I mean, thank God for the malls, because no matter where you were in America, you can walk in a mall and buy a Tribe Called Quest CD or a tape. But yeah, I definitely.
HMV, the top record was lit back then.
Hell yeah, strawberries, all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But
Coconuts.
real quick, Static. What's your favorite project you brought out? Like I'm talking about not singles and stuff you did. Like project you brought out.
That I put out.
Yeah, like for instance, my favorite one that you did that I like is I like 1982.
Word.
That's like my favorite joint. That you should go home.
Yeah,
that's my
it's
joint
been
right
good
there.
times, man.
Yeah, that's my joint right there. Term killed that.
We man, I don't think I have a favorite project. I mean, right now, one of the favorite songs I ever did was this Nas record coming out Friday. And people heard the snippet. There's like a 40-second snippet on Instagram.
Yeah.
But when you hear the whole thing, Nas is just like, he's rapping like Big Pun on that shit, man. Like it's real, it's dope. And what makes it so special to me is I DJ'd for him in Hawaii in like 2010, and I ended up bringing him to the studio with Kanye. I've told the story a bunch of times, but he had picked beats that week, and like I never got to hear them. And Def Jam called me like a year or two later when Life is Good was coming out. They were like, "Yo, you got a record on there? Like, what's the sample? All this shit." They went and handled all of it, and like the album came out, my song wasn't on it, and I was like, "Oh man, I never heard it."
Right.
So I never heard this song until 2 weeks ago.
Oh
Wow.
So when I heard it outside, I had DJ'd for Nas,
Yeah.
and Peter from Nas Appeal was like, "Yo, you want to hear the song?" I was like, "Yeah." So we could walk down the street, and he's playing it off his phone, and I'm just standing there like, "Oh man." So now I still haven't heard it mixed.
Right.
So the snippet that came on Instagram, I was on a flight, so everybody's going crazy about it, and I'm in the air for 8 hours, and I land, and I had no clue it was out yet, and just my phone and everything was going crazy. So I heard 45 seconds of it so far. I can't wait to hear the whole
heard the
song.
full record yet?
Nah,
Oh, shit.
that's on me though. They kept telling me to come to Maspio. I was just
Yeah.
I was out of the country, but I'm really excited for Friday, man.
That's dope. That's awesome.
It's the Nas that everybody wants, man.
New Nas album.
Lost Tapes too.
Yeah, first.
So what new projects you got going on in the foreseeable future since you do so much?
The CJ, the 2 Chainz. Like I said, my next album's coming, and I'm making a big announcement about that soon. New deal and all that. It's still Rock. I'm signed to Rock Nation as management, so I can do whatever deals I want.
Oh, okay.
But it's always gonna be, it's rock, show off, and then about to announce this move. So I'm excited. It's gonna be a good look.
He's like bang bang bang.
Yeah. And then hopefully the Chains comes out this year. Worst come to worst, first quarter, but it might come out fourth.
Nice.
Man, that'll be, you get that.
When you guys get that, like,
You're gonna be done.
I've been sitting on it for almost 3 years, but he updated and all that. But the shit he's talking about on it was relevant 3 years ago, and it's relevant now.
So it's gonna be like more, well, you can't tell exactly what's gonna be, but more
Soon
like,
come.
yeah, I'm saying like it's gonna be not what we usually hear from 2 Chainz, pretty much.
Nah, you've never heard.
Yeah.
Like, I made half these beats at Alchemist crib. Like,
Oh,
thinking
yeah,
about
say no more.
like
Say
who
no
I
more.
was thinking about when I made some of these beats was not 2 Chainz.
Exactly.
He ended up picking those first. So we got some A-list features on there, of
Treats.
course.
You got some treats there.
Got some goats on there. We got some. This is gonna mark his place as like I did everything in hip hop. I'm excited for that. I'm talking about Chainz. Like
Yeah.
That's
he got the
probably,
hits. He got the trap. He did Pretty Girls like trap music. Now it's time for this.
probably why he chose them tracks like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he probably thinking strategically on it.
Mhm.
Like, yo, I hit everything right. Hit all
To
bases.
me, this is his reasonable doubt. So
No.
yeah,
Nice.
that's some
So,
vibes.
okay, so are you okay now? So you're a low head.
Man, y'all can call me whatever. Call me whatever, man. Shout out to all the low heads. I got mad respect for the dudes that went. Like, I've known cats that have been doing it so hard for years. I'm not trying to compete with nobody. I'm not trying
it's not about competition.
I'm just rocking clothes.
Listen, you're part of the fraternity. You can't.
Thanks. I appreciate that coming from y'all.
Well, the brotherhood. Yeah,
I appreciate
no
that.
doubt.
It's coming from the OGs with the
Yeah,
hit.
you
No
know,
doubt.
so
Keep
you-
doing what you're doing, man.
You know, don't fight it. Just
Exactly.
I'm just like, no, I had to tell, shout out to my man Rock One, who was around when I like.
Oh, salute. He got his birthday party coming up
Oh,
at
yeah.
Toka Tuesdays, too.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, man.
I'm DJing July 20th next week. I'm DJing his spot, The Woods, on Saturday too.
All right.
Oh, that's
so-
the same night. So after, that's
Yeah, he
that's the
told me
same
that,
day.
too. Yeah.
You go until 2. I'm probably getting on at 2, so come through.
Say no more.
Yeah.
You already.
Word up.
No doubt. Yeah, that
Yeah,
works.
you see how everything works. Everything is connected. Synergy.
Definitely.
Rock was the first one to bring me to go see Andy, because before that I was going on Orlando.
Shout out to Andy Polo.
I walked in
Store.
there, I was like, oh, it's pro.
Yeah, and I met him doing a deal with my man Preem from Jersey,
Nice.
Supreme. So
Shout out to Preem.
yeah. And then we was like, yo, when's your birthday? Word? Oh, mine too. Oh, all right.
Word up.
Cancer's lit.
Word up.
Well, we're gonna wrap this up.
No doubt.
So Static, where can he find you?
At Static Select, that's what K's. There's no C's in my name, even though people still fuck the name up. Yeah, man. Shade 45 Thursday nights, 7 to 9. You can hit up showoffhiphop.com for the whole catalogs on there. Just hit me on Instagram, man.
Yes,
I reply to everybody that respectfully hits me up.
Yeah, and
Some
he
people, I'm gonna do a whole different rant about this, man. It doesn't have to be right now.
Go ahead, go
How many
ahead.
fucking messages I get a day? Like, yo, what's up, bro? Or like, let's build or let's work. It's like some of those people might actually be dope, but their approach is just, I can't just answer every single person that does that. Say what you need.
Right.
It might even be like, yo, what was the sample on that? Or where are you gonna be Saturday? Or like whatever. I'll answer it.
Right.
But don't hit me with the what's up, bro, or the like, yo, let's build. Come on, man. That's not how.
Because I will say Static is good with answering his DMs.
Yeah.
Because-
I hate seeing unread DMs. Like I keep them.
Right.
Most of the time I'm like delete, block, delete. But if it's respectable,
Right.
sometimes people are just like, yo, where can I get? Or someone in Germany will be like, yo, iTunes in Germany doesn't have 1982. I'm like, let me look into it. And they're like, oh, thank you so much. Here, I'll send them a link to it. Like,
Right.
you know, it's all love.
But definitely. Robbie.
Robbie Fingers, ROBBIEFINGERS, Twitter, Instagram, Queens Boulevard. You already.
Flatbush Corner.
Yes, Prance Low 24/7 on Instagram on the Church Ave corner. You already know 7:20 Saturday next week.
Pirata.
You can find me on Instagram, Paul Parata. Double J Vintage is the store. We have pins, we have bags, we have hats, we have shirts.
Be large.
Yes, like your large is coming. We have the Prance Low brand. Gotta get that. And we have Been There Rock that. Is the restock here or it's coming?
It's on
The shirts on its way?
Yeah.
The hats we do have.
Yes.
So if you want a hat,
Pre-order.
pre-order, contact Prance. He will have all the sizes. Or you can contact me and I will connect you to Prance.
Don't hit me. I don't even have my shirt yet. So.
Oh, and congratulations, fellas, on the iHeart. Yeah.
Oh yes.
That's dope.
Yes, we are on iHeartRadio. Yeah. So that's it. Static, thank you for coming
Thanks for
through.
having me, man.
Appreciate it.
The Fat Beat show is tonight, so if you're going out, my boy Esoteric is headlining that with I think the other guy from Jedi Mind.
Vinny Paz.
Yeah, Vinny Paz. So definitely go out if you have the time and check it out. Okay, we're out here. We'll see y'all next week. Then they rock that
La
challenge.
Paz.
We're up. Shit, I'm about to hit the Bronx for that scratch pass. Then I'm going to
Appreciate
Fat
it,
Beats. Nah, love, man. For real.
Appreciate you, man. For
man.
real.
Appreciate
No,
it.
no, you already know. You already know. I'm gonna try to swing by with that light Q-tips man doing a party near that on the same day, so I'll jump
No
around.
doubt. Appreciate you.
Love, man.
Yeah, we got kids.
Oh, we got
Put miles on the
Yeah, it's
beat.
good flick.
Yeah, definitely.